JavaScript was originally designed to run in web browsers, but with Node.js, we can execute JavaScript code outside of the browser. That is directly in our terminal or command line or wherever we want to do so. So this can be achieved in the following ways. The first one is to use the REPL. So okay, we have something in programming languages, we have something known as the REPL. You can basically execute a programming language inside of a terminal, as I'm going to show you in a short while. And that's what we refer to as a REPL. So REPL, this REPL over here, this term REPL, it's not Node.js specific. Even Python has its own REPL. Something like Go programming language has its own REPL. You know, all of these programming languages, they have their own REPLs. So the REPL is an interactive environment where you can write and execute JavaScript code line by line. I'm going to show this to you in a short while. And it is great for testing small pieces of code, debugging, or even experimenting with JavaScript. So to start the Node.js REPL, just open your command line and execute this command over here, Node. And this will drop you into an environment where you can execute JavaScript code in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I open here command prompt, CLD, you guys are going to see what I mean by the term REPL. So allow me to zoom this in. And we have said if you want to enter the Node.js REPL, simply execute this command over here, type Node and press enter, and you will see we will be dropped into an interactive, we have been dropped into this interactive environment over here, where you can execute JavaScript code line by line. And this is very useful when you want to test small snippets of code. So for example here, I can log to the console.log hello world, and when I press enter, you see I get here hello world. I can even do some simple math operations here. 1 plus 2, you see I get 3. I can even do here 5 modulus 2, for example, and I get 1. So this is what we refer to as a REPL. Read the full definition of REPL. Rather, this REPL in full is read, eval, print, loop. It basically reads that particular, it reads whatever code is written. This code over here, for example, person of code in one. Okay, it reads that piece of code. So that is the R in the REPL. Read the next, acronym. The next letter E stands for eval or evaluation. So read, evaluate. For example, here we type console.log hello world. You see, we get here our hello world message. So that is the REPL evaluating whatever code is written. Okay, so that is the evaluation step, and then it prints the result. After that, it prints the result. So, for example, here we go to the console, 1 plus 2, 3, it prints the result, and then it loops. So it goes back to the initial point where you can now type the command. So if I was to type here, for example, console.log, this is great. Okay. When I press enter, the first thing it will do is to read this particular command, evaluate it, and then print the result, and then loop. So it will read that, and when I press enter, it has evaluated it, and then it has printed the result, and then it is looping back to the point where I can type the next point. So this is what we refer to as a REPL. Okay, and all programming languages have their own REPLs. I can even decide to start a Python REPL, for example. Okay, this is just to show you guys what I'm talking about. If I want a Python REPL, I can just type here Python, and when I press enter, you see I'm also inside of the Python REPL. And I can even print here, for example, print hello world. Okay, you will need Python installed for this to work, and you see you get there hello world. So this is also what we refer to as the REPL of the Python programming language. So it's up to you to do your own research to see if your programming language supports a REPL. Most of them do, and you can be able to test small pieces of code from your REPL before maybe you go ahead to use those pieces of code in your code itself. So for example, you can say here, const is adult. Maybe you just want to test a piece of code over here. Const is adult is equals to age is greater than. I mean, you can say you can even say the const is adult is equal to, I don't know, 10, or rather, let's say here 20 is greater than 18 or something. And when I press enter, you see, okay, something is not right there. But either way, I think you guys get the idea behind working with this REPL over here. So read, evaluate, print the result, executing JavaScript outside of the browser. Of course, guys, we've been doing this since we started learning JavaScript. We've been executing JavaScript outside of the browser. The only thing I'm doing here now is emphasizing it. Okay, so this is the first way you can execute JavaScript outside of the browser using the REPL, which stands for read, eval, print, and then loop. So some of the REPL features that we have is multi-line code. You can take expressions across multiple lines. It supports that. We have the concept of underscores. So you can store the last evaluated expression using an underscore. So for example, here, if we say 1 plus 5, we will get 6. And if I do underscore, underscore basically means the previous result. Okay, so underscore means the previous result plus 10, and then I press enter, you see I get 16 because again, this underscore stands for the previous result. And I am taking here the previous result and adding 10 to it, and thus I'm getting the value 16 over here. Okay, so that's another feature of the REPL. And then if you want to exit the REPL, you can just type .exit or press Control and V. So if I want to exit out of this REPL, I simply type here .exit. And when I press enter, you see now I have exited the REPL. Read, evaluate, print, and do. Okay, so if we want to go back to the REPL again, just type node and press enter, and it will drop into the REPL. And here you can type pieces of JavaScript code just to test whether maybe what you want to work with will really work. And of course, if you want, you can exit the REPL by just typing .exit, and then you're out of the REPL. And then the second way of executing JavaScript outside of the browser is to use the node command itself with a JavaScript file. So while the REPL is useful for quick tests, most real-world applications are written in JavaScript files and executed using Node.js. So for this, you're supposed to create a JavaScript file, and then write your code inside of that particular JS file and execute it using the Node runtime. So if you say here, for example, Node, your file name.js, then the JavaScript code inside of this particular file will be executed. Okay, so that is what we mean by executing JS using this Node runtime. And we've been doing this up until this point. And guys, Node is not the only runtime that can execute JS outside of the browser, basically. We have lots of them. If you just try to Google here JavaScript runtimes. If you try to Google here JavaScript runtimes, you'll get that we have a lot of JavaScript runtimes. Okay. I was trying to find something here. So what is a JavaScript runtime? Okay, I'm not getting what I was looking for, but we have other JavaScript runtimes like Vue.js. Okay, very similar to Node. It allows you to execute JavaScript outside of the browser and a whole bunch of other JS runtimes. So yeah, that is it about it. Now, I want us to have a very small test of Node.js. By the way, Node.js is very, very wide, but we're not really using Node.js, you know, let me just say bare metal Node.js. We're using something called Express in our backend, but I just want to give you guys a very small test of Node.js for you to at least have an idea of what it is you're working with. And the first thing I'd like us to look at is the concept of modules in Node.js. So in Node.js, a module is a reusable block of code that encapsulates related functions, variables, and logic. And the idea behind modules is this. Instead of writing all your code in one large file, which is something we will not be doing, instead of writing your code in one large file, you can break that particular code into smaller, manageable pieces called modules and use them where they are needed. So instead of writing all of your code in one large file, you break it into smaller, manageable pieces known as modules that are spread across multiple files, and then you use them where they are needed. So this is what we'll be doing. We will not be writing all of our code in one huge file. We'll be breaking our code into smaller manageable pieces called modules that are spread across different files, and then we use them where they are actually needed. So we have the following types of modules in Node.js. Node.js provides three types of modules. We have the built-in modules, which are provided by Node.js itself. You can get them in the Node.js documentation. For example, the file system module, the HTTP module, the path module, and a whole bunch of other modules. So we have the built-in modules. So those come shipped with Node.js. You don't need to The next type of modules are local modules. So these are the modules that you create yourself. You as a developer, you create your own modules. That is the next, that's the other type of modules supported by Node.js. And then the third type of modules supported by Node.js is third-party modules. And sorry, these modules, they are installed from npm. Okay, examples of these third-party modules are Express, Lodash, Prisma, Vite, the ones that we've been using up until this point. Okay, so we have these three types of modules. We have the built-in modules, which are provided by Node.js. They come shipped with Node.js. The next ones are local modules. So these are custom modules that you, as a developer, you create on your own. And then finally, we have third-party modules. And these third-party modules are installed from npm. And examples of these third-party modules are Express, Lodash, Prisma, Vite, and so on and so forth. Let us look at these modules one by one. The first one here is the core modules. So Node.js has a set of built-in modules that provide functionalities like working with files. Okay, so Node.js has a set of built-in modules that provide core functionalities, like working with files, creating servers. Okay, very important here, creating servers, handling HTTP requests, very important as well, and so on and so forth. So it has lots of those modules. You can just look for them in the documentation. If we just search here for Node.js docs, I don't know why my laptop is suddenly misbehaving at the way it was working very well. Let us look for the documentation so that you guys see what I'm talking about here. So you can see that we have all of these modules. We have the console module, we have the crypto module, the debugger module, DNS module, domain module. Okay, we have the HTTP module. It's lots of these modules. Okay, a lot of them. We can't even finish TFM through it, and then once you're done, you'll be able to use it in your code. So Node.js has a lot of these modules. We can't even finish them if we were to start learning them one by one. It will take us another 5 or 6 months to be good at all of those modules. Okay, for example, you have the console module. Okay, and you can basically read this documentation to understand what the console module does. Okay, yeah, that is it about it. So to use these modules, we load them into our file using the require function. Okay, so to use these modules, we load them into our file using the require function. We call the require function and pass in the name of the module. The first object containing the methods from that particular module, which you can use in our application. So we call the require function, and then we pass the name of that particular module. And then what will happen is that the function will return an object containing methods from that particular module, which we can use in our application. So you can say, for example, here we want to use the file system module. So we call the require function, which is built in into Node.js. It helps you to load these modules. So you call the require function, and then you pass the name of the module that you want to work with. And then that particular function, when you pass the name of the module, it will return an object containing various properties and various methods that you can use. Okay. So for example, here we have this FS module, which allows us to work with files, the file system module. We don't really have to understand anything about it, but you can use it as an example to help you guys understand what you really mean by this. So I'm going to create here a file. Let me just call this file index.js. And let's say I want to use that FS module. Okay, so I'm going to say here, I'm going to require that particular module, require the FS module like that. So when you the module, and then you guys are asking me, how do you know the name of the module you want to work with? Again, that is the reason why we have the docs. So it's up to you to do your own research and know which module you want to use in your application. So here, for example, I'm calling the require function, and I'm passing the name of the file system module, or rather the FS module. And what will happen is that this require function will return an object. Okay, it will return an object that contains methods and properties that you can use to work with this file system module. So what do? We can save that particular object to a variable. I can say here, for example, file system is equal to require fs. So let's say, for example, I want to write into a file see we have all of these, properties and methods that we can use. Okay, change mode, close, copy file, sync. Uh, we have a lot of these properties that you can use here. So I can say, for example, I want to write into a file, fs.write file, and I can just call this file example.txt, and then I pass here the data that I want to write to that particular file. Okay. So we can say here, for example, hello world. Is that really what you're supposed to do? Okay, let us see if this is going to work. Just a second, guys. I'm forgetting how to work with this FS module. But either way, you don't even have to understand what this FS module does, because these are things that you learn on demand. They are things that you learn on demand. I'm just trying to give you guys a brief introduction to Node.js, so that at least you know the tool that you're working with. If you say here Node index.js, let me see. I don't make it bigger than yes. I know that. Yeah, exactly. FS.write file, hello world. Let me see something here. I just want to confirm whether, yeah. So if I execute that, you can see it has been executed successfully. And if we look here to our left, you can see we have our file here, example.txt, with this text written inside of it, hello world. Okay. I can even decide to say here, hello world, how are you doing? So you can see a file system module that allows us to work with files. And again, guys, please you'll be reading the documentation, finding the tutorials on demand. We have lots of these modules. I'm just trying to give you guys an example of how Node.js basically works. So Node index.js, and if I press enter, you will see we created to this file hello world, how are you doing? So that, for example, is the FS module, and you see how we use it. So if you want to load a module into your code, you use the require function. You call the require function, and then you pass the name of that particular module. And what happens is that the require function will return that particular module that it will return an object containing various properties and various methods that you can use to work with the given module. So for example, here when I call require and then I pass it the name of the module, which is FS, it returns an object containing the various properties and the various methods that you can use to work with the file system module. So yeah, this way of loading modules is great, but starting from ES6 moving forward, remember guys, we talked about the import statement in ES6. By the way, this is what we refer to as common JS. Whenever you see anywhere this word common JS, it's basically using this require function to load your modules. That's what we refer to as the common JS. But from ES6 moving forward, we have the idea of ES6 modules where we can use import statements. So for example here, instead of using const fs is equal to require fs, we can use ES6 modules like this. I can say import fs from fs like that. And we say for you to use ES6 modules, either make your file to end with .mjs. So instead of index.js, you make your file to end with index.mjs, or you go to your package.json file and change the type to modules. So by default, the type is going to be common JS, but if you want to use import statements, you change the type to be module. So right now, if I try to execute this, it will not work. Let me show you guys. If I try to execute this node index.js, it will not work. You see, we get an error here. Okay, so module type, you see, we get all of that error. And we even get this to eliminate this warning, add type to be equal to module in your package.json file. Of course, we don't have our package.json file yet, but you can see we're getting this. But if you want to eliminate this warning, we set the type to be equal to module, and or because now that we don't have a package.json file, we can change the file extension here to mjs. Let me rename this to mjs like that. So if you change that to .mjs, now if we run here node index.mjs, it will work perfectly fine. You now see we don't get that error anymore. So this is what we refer to as common JS. It is the old way of doing things, and the modern way of doing things is to use ES6 modules. And again, if you want to use ES6 modules, either make the file extension to So that is the first type of module that we have in Node.js. Those are the core modules in Node.js. The next type of modules that Node.js supports is our own modules. So yes, even you yourself you can create your own modules and use them in your code. So you can create your own modules and export functions or variables to use in other files. Remember I told you guys, instead of writing all of our code in one file, okay, instead of writing all of our code in one file, what we usually do is that we break our code into modules that are spread across multiple files, and then we are able to use those modules in our application. So you can create your own modules and export functions or variables to use in other files. Okay. As an example, let us start with the first one, the common JS way of using this. Let me just rename this JS way of doing it and the ES6 modules way of doing it. So I'm going to create here a file which I will call for math.js. So I'll call this file over here math.js, and it's very I need to learn using common modules. Common JS, but by the way, it's okay. You can just use that. So let us have a function here called add. It takes two numbers, maybe, and it returns the sum of those two numbers. Return a plus b like that. Then you can have another function. Let us call this product. It also takes two numbers, and it returns the product of those two numbers. Okay, so this can be treated as a module in our application. So let's say I want to use this add function and this product function inside of my index.js file. How do I go about it? Okay, if I want to use those two functions, if I want to use the add function from this math.js and this product function from this math.js in my index.js, how do I do it? So the first thing I'm supposed to do is to export those functions from this file over here. Now, the common JS way of doing it, which is the old way, so let me just type here old way, which is the common JS way of doing it, is to say module, sorry guys, module, why is it not giving me module dot export is equal to, and then you specify what you want to export. So you say here module dot export is equal to, and then you want to export the add function, and then you also want to export the product function. So you can see we have exported them as an object, and then we can now import them in our index.js file. So you can see we're doing here module.export is equal to add and product. And now if you want to use them in our index.js, what we do is this. We can the first way to use the common JS way, as we have said, is to use the require function. Come on, let me just like that. So what you're supposed to do is use the require function. Require. You're supposed to use the require function like that, and then you pass in here the file now. Okay, so you can see previously you're passing the name of the module when you were using the JS module, but when it comes to our own modules, you're supposed to pass the name of the file that is containing your code. Okay, or rather that is containing the functions, whatever it is you're exporting. Okay, I didn't get the common JS way of doing it, but let us just finish up what we're doing. And you don't just pass the name of the file like this, math.js, you're supposed to prefix it with a dot and a forward slash. So dot// math.js like that. And then this require function, as we know, it will return an object containing whatever it is you're exporting from this file over here. So you can set that object to a variable const math is equal to require dot// math.js. So this is how we use require to load our own modules, our own custom modules. I think that's what we have in the documentation as well. Yeah. You can see we use require to load our own modules like that. And now to use them, of course, we access them through this object. Sorry. So for example, here you can say console.log math dot, and then you can now see we have here our add and our product. So I can say here math.add 5,6, and I can even say here console.log math.product, and then pass the same 5,6. And if we save this and execute them, it's supposed to be index.js because we changed the name. Node index.js, you will see we will get our results. So if you want to work with our own modules, this is the way to do it. The only way that those functions or variables are, or whatever it is you want to work with are. And to do that, we must prefix that with those to differentiate this and our own custom modules. So you say here required .for/mark.js, it will return an object containing all of these things that you're exporting. Basically, this object over here, it will return this object. And then now, as you can see, we're now accessing our add function as if it is a method of this object. Same case the product function, as if it is a method of this object, and everything is sort of fine. But that is the old way of doing things. The new way of doing things is to use ES6 modules. And again, we've said for you to use ES6 modules, you need to make sure one of the two things is true. Either in your package.json file, the type has been set to module, or if you don't have a package.json file, like in our case, you don't have a package.json file, we make sure that the extension is .mjs. So I'm going to rename this to end with .mjs. Let me rename this to end with index.mjs, and then same case with this mark over here. I want to rename it to end with mark.mjs like that. Okay. Come again. Is everyone else experiencing that issue?
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, apart from that one possible. If any other person who can see my screen? Hello. Okay, let me share it again. Can you see my screen now? Okay. So we were talking about this custom modules, and as I was telling you guys, the modern way of doing this is to use ES6 modules. And I said if you want to use ES6 modules, one of the two things should be true. Either your file should end with .mjs, or you should have a package.json file with the type property set to module in that particular package.json file. And then now instead of doing this all way, you can even see VS Code is telling us here we can optimize something. I told you guys, whenever you have a line of code, and you see these three dots, okay, you can see these three dots below that letter M. So that is VS Code way of telling you that this particular line over here can be optimized. Is that file is a common JS module. Here you can see what I'm telling you. The file is a common JS module. It may be converted to an ES module. So that is exactly what you want to do. And if you want, you can just go with that quick fix, convert to ES module, but I just want us to do this together. So instead of doing this in the common JS way, we are going to export this function over here. So export function add, and then you also want to export this function product, export function product, like that. And then now we can use these two functions inside of our index.mjs. So for example, if I want to import this add function, I can import it like this, import add, okay, from, and then you can see ./mark.mjs. So import this add function from this mark.mjs. And then if I also want, I can also import the product function from the same file. So import add from a product from ./mark.mjs. You can see it's like the same thing happening. Whenever it is our own module, we are importing, we are supposed to prefix it with this dot and forward slash. Please guys always remember that whenever you're importing your own modules, you always make sure that you prefix them with this dot and forward slash. And now if we log to the console here, add 5,6, and also log to the console here, the product,
Hakuna pesa nimewahi tumia.
Na hii 80k ulifanyia nini?
Hata 80k sitaki kujali sana. Hiyo kufaka mlikuwa mnafaka. Wewe ni uongo tu. Wewe dem tu ananiwekelea tu.
Hapana, unataka kuniletea ukimwi ni nini hapa?
Wewe mtu anakupasha na. Mimi anakuambia to listen to me vizuri. You are not the first man I have.
I know guys, where they're heading, we're about to use this in post statements a lot. We're about to do whatever it is we've done here a lot. We'll be breaking our code into modules like this, and then we use them the way we've done it here. Instead of writing all of our code in one file, this is what we'll be doing 99% of the time. Okay, and the final type of modules that Node.js supports are third-party modules. So Node.js has a huge ecosystem of third-party modules available via the Node Package Manager via NPM. I think we've been doing this a lot of times. So for example, the Prisma ORM that you guys have been using is an example of that third-party module. So to use these packages, you're supposed to make sure you have a package in JSON file. Okay, so to use these packages, you're supposed to make sure you have a package in JSON file. And if you you're supposed to make sure you have this package in JSON file to track or rather keep track of them. And if you don't have a package in JSON file, as you know by now, you can create it by simply running this command npm init/y. And then if you want to install a package, use the npm install command. Npm install the name of that particular package, and then you can import it to your in your code. You can import that particular package in your code and use it however you want to. So let us do that. I'm going to do here npm init/y to just initialize my package JSON file. And this flag flag is basically used to answer yes to all the questions. Remember when you run npm init without passing any options, it walks you through a utility where it asks you a lot of irrelevant questions. So usually we pass this white flag to just generate our package JSON file without answering any of those questions. Of which in that case usually Node.js will do with all the default options. And as you can see, we have a package JSON file here. Okay. And this is what I was telling you guys. You can see by default the type is common.js. So if you want to use ES6 modules, either make sure your file ends with .mjs or reset the type over here to the module. So personally, as for me, I prefer setting the type here to the module. I think it's usually cleaner than what we have with this index.mjs. So I'm going to rename this. Let me rename this now to index.js. Like that. Given this index, we rename this. We rename map.mjs. That should be important. I think it's back. Which one are you guys using? Which one are you using? I'm sure the laptop was connected to something TP link 6C16_5G. Which one are you guys using? When you research net yoyote hapa? Okay, but I'm saying for me, I'm saying here I have TP link 6C165G. Yeah. I think it's a strong one. You can try to connect to that one. It's very fast. Unless you go up your TP links, you get an line by the way, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's you guys, you want to tell me hakuna sisi none of us inside here knows how to reset a router. Nani nilifanya IT hapa ndani? Baba. Kuna password. Hiyo TP iko na password. Mbona wewe connect? When you're going to send me this at when you're going to send me this at hey, kuna password. You guys come on. Kuna watu wanafanya kitu kingine
imepotea.
haiwezi potea plugin. Okay, let's join back. Clear up the part of the menu. Don't do the final you set this next for us. What's up? Yeah. Doctor will do it. Doctor is what I did. But even I didn't do like this. I taught you. George. I did George. Yeah, you guys are playing us now. This is computer science. We never did any. We are focusing on computer science. You guys should help us with these things. But can you still explain? Okay, let us proceed. Okay, someone is whispering. Let us proceed. So, as I was telling you guys, you can see I have changed this from index.mjs to index.js, from map.mjs to map.js, and you can see we have updated everything here. So we're importing the add function and product function from this map.js file, and we're using them, and now everything is still working perfectly fine. Okay, let us try to execute that and see. Sorry, not npm init, not that one. So node index.js, and you can see it's still working perfectly fine. Now, we were talking about third-party modules, and nothing is new to you guys as far as this is concerned. If you want to install a third-party module, we use the npm install command, and we have, I don't know, let me say thousands, or not, if not millions, we have thousands of these third-party modules. So the most popular one, for example, is the chalk package. So npm install chalk. If you want to use it in your application, and when you press enter, it should install this tool called chalk. Give it a few seconds, guys. A few seconds, sorry. And you can see it has added one package, and that is the chalk package. Again, what is happening? You can't see my screen. I'm you guys are thinking about it. It's hanging. Okay, let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Okay, let us continue. Please let us stop this one in a second. So, as I was telling you guys, if I go here to my package.json file, you will now see I have added one third-party package, and that is this chalk package. So, under dependencies, you can see we have this chalk third-party. Let us just call it a third-party module. And the way you load a third-party module is the same way you load a core module in Node.js. So remember we said core modules in Node.js, they're the ones that come built in into Node.js. And I'm showing you guys an example of such a core module, and that was this FPS module, which is what we use to read and write into files. Okay, so the way you load a third-party module is the same way you load a core module in Node.js. So how do we do that? Very simple. You can say here import chalk from, and then chalk like that. You can see we're not using a dot and a forward slash for these third-party modules. The only time we're using a dot and a forward slash is when we are working with our own modules. So here, for example, I can try to go to the console using, for example, chalk.bg green, for example, chalk.bg green, add 5,6, and now the result coming out of this add 5,6 function will be printed in green. So if I save this and try to execute it, so just a second, come on, why am I installing it again? It's supposed to be node index.js. You can now see that 11 is being printed in a green background. So yeah, that is about modules. So the most important thing you need to understand here is the concept of our own modules. The other ones are very simple. You can see, for example, importing the FS module, very simple and very straightforward. The next one here is, for example, importing the third-party module. You can also see it's very simple and very straightforward. But for our own modules, you're supposed to first of all write it in a different file, and then explore that particular function or variable or class or object, whatever it is you want to work with. And then the moment you want to use it, you import it using the import statement. And whenever you're importing your own modules, you're supposed to prefix that particular module with a dot and a forward slash like this. So import whatever it is from, and then a dot and a forward slash, and then the file where those items exist. Now, let us go through one of these modules in details, so that because the pattern for using these modules is quite similar across all of them. And one of these modules is going to be this files module that I use to work with files. So Node.js provides a built-in module called FS, or the file system module, that allows you to work with files and directories. You can use this module to read, write, update, delete, and even rename files. And again, guys, the only reason why we are going through this FS module is because the code we write when working with this FS module, it's basically the pattern we'll be seeing across all, across everything to do with Node.js, and even a tool called Express.js that we're going to learn from today. So, for example, the pattern of using callback functions and so on and so forth. So when we work with at least one of these modules, you guys will not understand the main idea behind what it is we're doing here. So Node.js provides a built-in module. Okay, so a built-in module or a core module called FS, and FS stands for file system, that allows you to work with files and directories. So you can use this FS to write, update, delete, and even rename files, using that particular FS module. And the FS module has two ways of working with files. The first way is the synchronous or the blocking way of working with files, and then the second way is the asynchronous way or the non-blocking way. So for the synchronous or the blocking way, the program waits until the operation is complete, and then it will move to the next line. And then the asynchronous, or rather the non-blocking way, the program continues running while the file operation is processed in the background. So just as a sample, let us look at how we can read and write to files synchronously, and you guys will get the idea behind what we're talking about here. Now, as an example, to read from a file, the FS module provides you with this read file sync method. Okay, so this read file sync method allows you to read from a file synchronously, and synchronously basically means in a way that is blocking. So this method takes two arguments. The first argument is the path to the file that you want to read. Okay, the path to the file that you want to read, and then the second argument is the encoding, the way of which is usually UTF-8 encoding. And if we don't pass the encoding, we will get something referred to as a buffer instead of the data of that particular file. Okay, so allow me to create here a file, or we can even try to read from the package, from this package.json file. I mean, why not? Let us try to read from this package.json file, so that you guys see what we're talking about. So this FS is a core module, and you'll say if you want to work with this module, you either use the require function in CommonJS, or you use the import statements in ES6 modules. So because we're inside of an ES6 modules project, and how do I know we're inside of an ES6 modules project? It is because in my package.json, I have set the type to be equal to module. So because we are inside of an ES6 module project, I'm supposed to use the same import statements to work with these ES6 modules. So I want to import the FS function. Sorry, I want to import the FS core module. So this is a core module. You can see I'm importing FS from FS, and this is the name of whatever object is coming out of there. Remember we said when you call the require function and you pass, for example, the name of that particular module, it returns an object containing all of those properties and methods that you can use to work with that particular core module or third-party module or whatever module it is. So it is the same thing in the import statement. So when we say import FS from FS, whatever properties and methods are coming out of this FS module And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it blah blah blah. Okay. So either way, it will be an object containing all the properties and methods coming from this FS module. So the pattern you will see is to name that particular object similar to, similar to whatever it is you're importing. So if it is the FS module, you can see we're using that FS object like that. I think you get what is happening. So you say if you want to read from a file, you use fs dot read file sync. So read file sync. So fs dot read file sync, and it takes in two parameters. The first parameter is the path to your file. So in this case, I want to read the package.json file. Okay, and then the second parameter is the encoding you want to use. Guys, you don't have to understand this encoding and all of that. I'm just trying to give you guys a taste of Node.js. Okay, either we want to be using something known as Express.js that is built on top of Node.js. So the second parameter to this read file sync is supposed to be the encoding scheme, and usually the encoding scheme is going to be used in your page like that. And then what will happen is that this method will return the content of whatever file you have specified here. So you can say that particular file of that content of variable, you can say here content is equal to fs.read file sync, and then you're passing here the path to our file, okay, and then the encoding scheme. And if we load the content to the console will load content, save this and execute it. First of all, let me clear this. Node index.js, you will see we are getting the content of our package.json file. Okay. If you don't believe me, we can try to work with this example.txt file over here. Example.txt. You can see in example.txt we have this text. Hello world, how are you doing? So we can pass here the path to our file. Example.txt. And when we save this and execute it, node index.js, you will see we are getting here the content of that particular file. Hello world, how are you doing? Now, if we don't pass this encoding over here, we get something known as a buffer returned to us. So save this, and as you can see, if we don't pass the encoding just a few seconds, yeah, you can see we're getting this buffer over here. Okay, so if you convert this buffer to a string, then you'll be able to see the content, back. So for example, here you can say the content dot to string or something. So remember this content, if you don't pass the UTF-8 encoding, this content is a buffer. So if you pass that to string, we'll now be able to see the content now as a string. But either way, it's always a good idea to pass the encoding. So this read file sync over here is blocking, okay? Which means JavaScript will stop execution at this particular point until it has finished executing. What that means is that if we have statements coming afterwards, for example, if you take the console node here, hello world, you will notice that this read file sync, you can even say this sync means synchronous. So this read file sync is blocking, which means when we get to this particular point over here, when the engine gets to this particular point over here, it will pause until this operation over here is complete, and only then will it continue on line 4, 5, and line 6. So if we save that and try to execute that, you will see that it is blocking the rest. We're first of all getting hello world, how are you doing? And then afterwards, we are now getting hello world on line 6. So you can imagine, for example, how bad it would be if this file over here was a very huge file. You can imagine it is a PDF file containing like, I don't know, 500 pages or 10,000 pages. That would really mess us up because when we get here, it will block the single thread that we have in Node, and all of these other from line 4, line 5, line 6. We have to wait for all of this to finish executing. Only then will be crossing to line 6. If we try to read this particular file in an asynchronous manner, you will notice that asynchronous way of reading files is not really blocked. I don't think that I'm not sure that is there. Okay, this is synchronously. Let me show you how to read files asynchronously so that you see the difference. Okay, so if you want to read files asynchronously, you use the read file method. And now this is where we now start seeing the pattern of Node.js itself. So you use the read file method, and this method is used to read from files asynchronously. asynchronously. And the method takes three arguments. The first argument is the path to the file that you want to read from. The second argument is the character encoding scheme, which I've told you they're supposed to be UTF-8. Please don't bother trying to understand what you mean by character encoding scheme and all of that. And then the third argument is a callback function. And this callback function will get executed once the file has been read. And that particular callback function takes in two parameters. The first parameter is the error in case Node.js runs into an error reading from the file. And the second parameter is the content that has been read from the file. So let me show you what we're talking about here. So this is the blocking way. You can see guys, if you try to let me just try to say here, hello world from line 6. If we try to execute this, you will see that we have to wait first of all to read from the file. Only then will we continue executing the code that is coming afterwards. But now, the asynchronous way of doing it, if I just try to comment this one out, we have seen that we're supposed to use the read file method. So fs.read file. And this read file, it takes in three parameters. The first parameter is the path to the file that you want to read from, of which in this case it is just in the same directory with our index.js file. So we just type the name like that and everything will be okay. Example.txt. The second parameter is the character encoding scheme, of which in this case we say we're supposed to use UTF-8. Okay, again, don't bother with understanding all of that. I'm just trying to show you some patterns in Node.js. And then the third parameter is a callback function. So the third parameter is a callback function, and I can use an arrow function there. And you'll see this callback function takes in two parameters. And we're not the one passing these parameters. It is Node.js that knows about those parameters. So Node.js will pass two parameters with this callback function. The first one will be an error object in case we run into an error reading from this file. And then the second one will be the data once we read from this file. The data that we get out of this particular file will be sent to this data parameter over here. So even if you want to call them x, y, if you want to call them y, z, just know that the first one will represent the error object in case we run into an error, and the second one will represent the actual data that has been read from this example.txt file. And now here, for example, I can check in case there is an error. We can just try to go to the console.log, something went wrong. Otherwise, it means we have the data, in which case we can just log the data to the console. So console.log that particular data. So if we save this and we try to execute it, you will see we will be able to get our data. Hello world, how are we doing? But in case we run into an error reading from this file, for example, instead of saying example.txt, I try to pass example.tx. So we don't have a file called example.tx. We don't have such a file. Okay? We don't have a file called example.tx. So definitely we will run into an error. So this error object will now be defined, and therefore we'll get that particular error. And when we run that, we will see that we get here something went wrong. Now, the advantage of using this read file over here is that it is asynchronous. It does not block the execution of the next statement. So if I was to use the same line over here, console.log hello world from line number 6. Okay, if I was to use the same thing over here, you will see that when JavaScript comes across this read file, it will realize that this read file is asynchronous. So it will, let me just use the same one again to ignore that for now and continue executing what is coming afterwards. And then once it is done, it will now come back to this one. So let me execute this node index.js, and you can see we are getting hello world from line 6, and then afterwards we're getting something else from, which is what we have in this function. So I hope you see the difference between blocking and non-blocking. When something is blocking, it means that when the engine gets to that particular line, it will wait until all execution of that particular line is completed. Okay, the engine will wait until all of that, until the execution of that, or all the execution of that particular line is completed. Only then will it move to the next line and the next line and so on and so forth. But whenever we do things asynchronously, then that is the non-blocking way. So the key point over here, guys, is for you to get used to this pattern, especially the pattern of using a callback function. This is something we'll be doing from today moving forward. We'll be doing now something is asynchronous. So please start getting used to this pattern over here because this is what we'll be doing. Now, even for writing into a file, we have two ways of writing into a file. The first way of writing into a file is synchronous, and then the second way of writing into a file is asynchronous. Okay. So let us write. If you want to write to a file synchronously, you're supposed to use the write file sync, and it takes in two parameters. The first parameter is the path of the file that you want to write to, and then the second parameter is the content that you want to write to that particular file. So here we can say, because I want to write into a file, I can say here fs.write file sync. Okay, so fs.write file sync, it takes in two parameters. The first parameter is the path of the file you want to write to, of which in this case I want to write to example of txt. And then the second parameter is the data that I want to write into that particular file. So for example, here you can say Node.js is such an awesome tool. And of course, even if it returns anything, in this case, you're not interested in whatever it is returning. You just want to write to the file and be done with it. Okay. So if we try to execute it, I want to look at the example of txt file. If we try to execute it, node.index.js, you will see that we get that written into this file. Node.js is such an awesome tool. So that is a synchronous way of doing it, which is basically the blocking way. And then now the non-synchronous way of doing that is to use fs.write file simply. Okay, and it takes in three parameters. The first parameter is the path of the file that you want to write to. The second is the content that you want to write, and then the third is a callback function, which gets executed after the operation is finished. And now in this case of writing to a file, that particular callback function will take in one parameter, which represents an error in case Node.js runs into an error writing into that particular file. So you can see, again, we are trying to write into a file asynchronously. And because this is an asynchronous operation, we are using a callback function. So let us just have that fs.write file. Okay. So you see that I takes in three parameters. The first parameter is the path to the file that you want to write to, example of txt. The second parameter is the content you want to write into that particular file. Allow me to set that content to a variable. Content is equals to hey there. You can even put a new line. Hey there, a new line. Node.js is so fun. So this \n is what we refer to as an escape character. It has nothing to do with Node.js. This is a general programming thing. So there are things which we refer to as escape characters. They have a different meaning to the compiler. So whenever you have a backslash and then a character, then it's usually interpreted as an escape character. So for example, this \n, for you might see a \n, but for the compiler of the engine or whatever it is, that particular programming language, it sees a new line character. So the second parameter over here, we're going to see what you mean by that in a short while. The second parameter over here is the content. So I'll just put our content there. And then the third parameter, because again, this is an asynchronous operation in Node.js, and in Node.js, and anything to do with Node.js, if something is asynchronous, there are very high chances that there's going to be a callback function somewhere, of which in this case, there goes our callback function. And our callback function takes in only one parameter this time, which is basically the error object that will be defined in case Node.js runs into an error trying to write into that particular file. Okay, so I can just say here, if there's an error, we just load it to the console. The console will log that particular error, and that should be more than okay. So look at our example of txt, and if we run this here, node.index.js, you see that we have hello there, and then that \n, as I told you guys, usually means new line. Okay, when you do \n, you're telling the programming language to go to the next line. That is what \n means. So you can see it goes to the next line. Node.js is so fun. So you can imagine, for example, you're building a backend system where you're supposed to generate report cards in the backend, and then those report cards are downloaded by the user. I mean, once you generate the report card in the backend, you send that particular report card to the front end, and then the report card gets downloaded by the user. So you can see we have a very beautiful methods here, the write file methods. and we have more escape characters. If I want, I could put a tab character. So /T is equal to the tab character on my keyboard. So it's a very huge space. I think it's usually, if I just type here, hello, a tab is an equivalent of 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a word. So this is a tab over here. That is what we mean by this /T. If you don't believe me, let us try to execute this, and you guys will see our /T. Yeah, you can see there that huge space /T. And we have lots of these escape characters. Okay, you can even escape an escape character, but that is a discussion for a different day. And they have nothing to do with Node.js. It is a general programming thing. It's a feature in almost all programming languages. So the reason why we're going through all of those CSS and whatever modules that I wanted to show you guys that Node.js has its own modules, which you can use to serve our own purposes. And this is how we load them. We import whatever module from the name of that particular module. And the general pattern you will see is that if something is asynchronous, we use a callback function. And now you can see how other functions are really shining here. But if you want, you can also use other types of functions. If you don't want to use an arrow function, you can use other types of functions. Sorry, not other types of functions. You can use, for example, an anonymous function. And just take here, for example, the function taking in an error, the error object, and then if there is an error, we log into the console. And this will still work perfectly fine. But in cases like this one, we usually prefer to use other functions. They are so concise and straight to the point. Do we have any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay. So we can now we can go for lunch right now, but we make sure we're back here by 2 p.m. At exactly 2 p.m. So we now start looking at backend development now. Now that we know we have a tool that can run JavaScript outside of the browser, we now start looking at backend itself. We understand how the backend works, and then we have an introduction to Express. And the same thing I did with Prisma, whatever we learn